All right, we're over here with Eagle and Danny. It's Leroy, it's not Eagle.
It's not Eagle.
Sheesh. We're over here with Danny working on Leroy, not Eagle. Working on Leroy. We got the body modified yesterday with PMAR and Derek. They did a great job. You guys are watching the videos. We mounted a rocker level and he lowered the lip so it is also level. It's 3.5 inches off the ground in front now instead of 5.5. Just a little cosmetic deal and put a little extra bracing on that front lip because it's going to get a lot of force. So that's done. And now we are moving on to a fire suppression system, which Leroy didn't have before. And honestly, without the body, probably wasn't the end of the world, you know, to not have one. But now that it has a body, and if hopefully never have a fire, but if you ever had a fire, it would kind of be encapsulated under the body, which is where Cletus is at, and that's not good. So we want to make sure Cletus stays safe, and we're putting a 20-pound fire system in Leroy from Safecraft, which is the only fire systems that we use here at the shop on all of our builds, and the only fire systems that we'll sell to any customers. So Danny does all the fire systems, fire lines, brake lines, and that's why he's doing it. And if you've ever seen his fire lines and brake lines, you can understand why he does them all. This is a little tricky because it's not a chassis and going to tubing like normal, right? I mean, it's the same concept.
It's going to tubing, but
yeah, it's
when you get up like around the body where you have to come through the body and stuff, if it's a chassis car like we build, it's a flat piece of sheet metal, everything's nice and angular, everything's good for that. This is everything but that. It's all factory. So we're just trying to make it look as good as we can.
And it's going to look good. Danny's going to do a great job. He already got this one bottle plumbed in basically to a bulkhead in the back of the rear firewall. And it looks great. The other side will be pretty much exactly the same, but opposite. And then it'll run across the rocker, correct? We're going to do the rocker?
It'll be, yeah. You got like 3 sections each side. So you'll have 6 individual lines with two bulkheads each side. But what it's going to do, if you can get in here, you'll see. You put a bulkhead fitting right there. That line goes to that fitting. Now we're going to have a line that'll run down here. That'll run along here. All the way up to somewhere in this general area here where it will turn and go up. And then there's a spot up inside behind the dash where you can't see. We're going to put a bulkhead that'll come out somewhere right in here. And so that line will connect to the back side of that bulkhead. And then from here, we're going to have a T, and one line will go up in this general area, shoot the fuel rail, and then continue. The other line will continue over, kind of come up over to this bar, run along the bar, stop here, shoot the fuel cell. Pretty much the same thing on the other side, except it'll have a T down by his feet, where that bottle, one bottle feeds these 2 nozzles, the other bottle will feed his feet, and then it'll come out and catch the other fuel rail. 4 nozzles total, 2 bottles. It just makes it more difficult with a car with a factory like this because everything's not nice and flat and easy to do. You just got to find a place where you can do something and run to it.
Pretty much the same as all of our other cars. The concept is the same. We use the same fire system, same line, same nozzles. And we always, in all of our cars, put one at the driver's feet. And then we face 3 nozzles towards basically, you want to put the fire out if it happens, and that would be at the base of the fire or where the fire started. And we usually aim 2 nozzles towards, one towards each fuel rail and then one towards the fuel cell. And that usually covers everything. And it is a 20-pound system. It's not a 5 or 10-pound. So there's quite a bit of system there if he has a fire to put something out, suppress it. So he'll be really safe with this, and glad to see it going on. But we're going to get this wrapped up in the next few days and sand down the body. And then I think we're going to go test Leroy again. So I'm excited to see if this thing will go. I don't know. I think this thing's going to be fast when I get it right. It's going to go 670s, 660s, I think. It's going to fly. The body definitely made a huge difference at World Cup. If you guys watched, they went 208, which is the most mile an hour they've ever gone before, by quite a bit, I think. And it was still just a regular soft tune-up. So I think this thing's going to fly. Also, as we wrap up all the work on Leroy this week, don't forget, today is the last day to buy your merch with the possibility of getting Leroy's window and window frame, or even the 10 or 12 pieces we have cut off of Eagle sent in your order. So if you want to get a piece of Eagle or Leroy's 198 mile an hour window frame sent to you in your order, make sure you order today. On top of that, if you order today, from the time this video goes live until midnight tonight, you can get 10% off all merch. So not only do you have the chance of getting a window frame from Leroy or some pieces off Eagle, you'll save 10% off merch. And we have new designs, so why not do it now? Thanks again for everyone who's already bought merch. We really appreciate the support. Let's get back to the video.
That is way better. I can come out here, come out with a key. One will just run right up, right over, and down. And the other one, I can just pull a U with it. Up. If I go up here, that might even be even better. Out, across, and just turn that thing right up right there and shoot that way. Very critical where I put that hole. I can put it anywhere in here, and I got to make sure that it's at the optimum place for me to make each line come off of it to make it go where I have to go.
While Danny's over there doing the fire lines on Leroy, we just wanted to show you what PMAR fiberglass did on the body. There is some final sanding to do to get the fiberglass smoothed back out. But basically they sliced it at that top body line on the lip here. We lowered that lip. So with the rocker on the ground, level to the ground before, that front lip pointed up a little bit. So it was closer to 3 inches in the back and it was 5.5 in the front. So it pointed uphill quite a bit. Derek sliced that thing for us and moved it down to where it's all pretty level. And looks much better in my opinion. So that's all good. We also reinforced some of that lip because the lip was starting to crack over there a little bit. You can see where he touched up some cracks over there. So reinforced the lip and lowered it, and now it looks much better. I think that's about it.
I could do that. I could sand out an area right there. Make the fitting go through there. That's going to work out better on the long run any way I do it. If I could just quit dropping that fitting, it'd be all right. Best invention ever.
Looks good.
Yeah, I was gonna run under the bar, but I can't get the bar. I can't get that line in.
I think above the bar, like that's fine.
I know it will have to.
Yeah.
I got thinking.
You had to try to get the whole piece. You had to fold it up and bend it back.
Yeah, I didn't know if I could snake it through there and kind of flip it around. I said, nah,
That looks fine. That looks good.
So, yeah, and then I'll just do this one out here and then over there.
Fancy stuff. I like it, Danny.
If you don't remember to do this, you won't be happy. And make sure you put it on the right way and not flipped around backwards. That happens to you one time and never again. And there you go. I like making these little short lines. They don't take long. One of the best tools I've ever used in my life. I'm going to try something first before I do this. Oh, let me see what I got up here. I think that might work. Well, it's a little bit shorter than I want, but it'll be just fine.
All right, Danny's wrapping up the last part of the fire line on the driver's side. The driver's side and passenger side are pretty much exactly the same as they come through the car for the most part. The passenger side, when it comes through the firewall, has a T here. And one side of the T goes to that fuel rail there. And the other side of the T goes up to the front to be on the fuel cell. Right there. So we're trying to get if a fire happens, get the fire put out where it would be coming from, which could be the fuel cell line there, fuel feed, or at the fuel rail. On the driver's side, which he's wrapping up now, has a T on the inside here. And you can see a little bit, it has a nozzle basically going toward the driver's feet and toward the driver. And then when it pokes through the firewall, And this bulkhead here is basically gonna wrap around and kind of do similar to the other side and point at this fuel rail. It won't go to the fuel cell. We only need one going to the fuel cell. So basically there's 2 nozzles on each side, and that's all we need. I like it.
Me too.
It's looking good. It came out really good. A little different than we normally do it, because we usually have tubes to run along, but again, Danny's really good at coming up with the best way to route these fire lines and brake lines. That's why he does all the fire lines and brake lines.
It takes a while for me to figure out something sometimes. Like I've changed my mind where it's going to go through the firewall up here 10 times on where I was going to put things. You keep looking at it, and pretty soon you kind of say, well, I like that idea better. Oh, I can go over here. The main thing is you got to be able to access the inside to the outside, find a spot where you can poke a hole where it's not like got space in it. You got to have something fairly thin for the bulkhead. So over there, we came through in this area because over there was an area that was I could just drill a hole through the metal and access it on the inside. Here, this is about so thick, so you could drill a hole here, but you got that far to go before it goes inside. So that's not going to work. So, challenge.
Looking good. He's gonna finish this last little section of fire line here, and then he's got to tap all the holes basically where the P clamps hold the fire line to the car or the chassis. And once they're done with that, they're going to weld up these fire bottle mounts and then paint the mounts where we had to take the paint off to weld. After that, today we're going to put the body back on, and Leroy's done and heading back to home, and hopefully some testing next week. See how fast they can go with this thing. All right, that's pretty much going to do it for today's video. Danny's finishing up the cables to the fire bottles and Leroy, and then they are putting the body on, and Leroy will be finished. We almost have Eagle wrapped up also. It'll be finished up sometime early next week. We'll be getting it to paint. A lot of big stuff going on, but we got to get that shop now, and we're heading to Freedom Factory for 2.4 hours of La Mullis. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.